All ideas matter, but the ones we don't think about are the ones that are the most dangerous. I'm John Stonestreet, and this is the 2-Minute Warning. C.S. Lewis once said that the most dangerous ideas in a society aren't the ones that are argued, but the ones that are assumed. I saw that in real life a few years ago when I was speaking in front of a large group of students. In fact, it was about 8 years ago, and I made a sarcastic comment about the movie The Notebook. And after I got done speaking, I saw 3 females making a beeline to me. Now, a lot of times when I get done speaking, people come up and talk, and I usually like that. But sometimes I see the look on their face and I think, I don't want to talk to that person. And that's what happened, because these 3 ladies were angry. One of them approached me with fire coming out of her eyes and said, "What's wrong with The Notebook?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" She said, "You made fun of that movie, and that was a great picture of love." Now, if you know about the movie, the story goes something like this. There's an older woman who has Alzheimer's, and she can't remember her life. And so what she does is she lives in this home, and her husband comes every day and reads to her the story of their love from The Notebook. And that was a beautiful picture of love, because he stuck by her till the very end when she didn't even know who he was. But the problem, I told this lady, wasn't in the end scene. The problem was the story that supposedly got them there. Do you remember the story? One summer, there are these 2 teenagers who see each other, and they're overwhelmed by this strong feeling of passion that they can't deny. And even though her dad says stay away because he's a bum, he kind of was a bum. That's just what mean dads do. They just try to make their daughters miserable. So she disobeys her dad and hangs out with him, jumps into bed, and then they get broken up again because her dad's really, really mean, right? Well, they go off to war. She goes off to become a nurse. He goes off to fight in the war. She treats this guy who's badly injured, and he falls in love with her. Now, she still has these strong feelings for this first guy, but she kind of likes this other guy too. So when he proposes marriage, she says yes. She makes a commitment to him, to her family, to his family, that they're going to be married. But those feelings for that first guy are just too strong. So she breaks her commitment, runs and jumps back into bed with this first guy, and now 50 years later, they're still married because of those strong feelings. And you know, those feelings, they just never go away, just like real life. See, what's happening in this movie is an assumed definition of love. That love is a strong set of feelings. In fact, it not only assumed a definition of love, it actually assaulted another definition of love. In other words, if you have very strong feelings, you can break the commitments in your life. Now, that definition of love, that it's just a set of strong feelings that we have, that's pretty common. We hear it in songs and movies. We often even sing it at church, our strong feelings about God. But love, at the end of the day, biblically, is not what we feel. It's actually a commitment we make for the good of the other person. And see, that's an example of how ideas slip into our lives, slip into our thinking, and change the way we engage the world. This is why definitions really matter. And so if you really want to get to the heart of how ideas change your life, always be ready to ask the question, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? What's the definition that I'm accepting for this particular idea? For the 2-Minute Warning, I'm John Stonestreet.